Before we start the video, I just wanted to show you this picture. I really like it. I think it's because his feet are pointing the exact same direction, so he looks socially awkward. And he's kind of holding the gun with maybe 2 fingers, but it's still supported. I'm kind of not sure what's happening with his calves there, but I really think it's a funny picture. I wanted to show it to you guys, just in case it disappears off the face of the planet. I think he looks like a kindergartner watching his mom drive away on the first day of school. He just looks weird.
Welcome to the
Omega Strikers
Champion Spotlight, featuring
Drek'ar, the lizard guy.
I am ready to have fun.
Drek'ar is a highly mobile, easy to control, and moderately difficult striker with a lot of variety in how he can deal damage. It can take a bit of practice getting used to his abilities, but he pays off big time when played effectively. Drek'ar's primary ability, called Lock and Load, fires a short cone of strong energy that later splits into 5 light damage projectiles. The cone attack counts as a melee attack, so it will scale with any kind of size awakenings. The entire attack has impact, allowing it to hit more than one target. The ability has 2 charges, with a separate cooldown for the charges that you have, and another for being able to fire. This attack has a delay when casting, so be sure you take this into account when trying to hit the core or a mobile enemy. The delay isn't large, clocking in at about 1/5 of a second, but it could be enough to turn a finishing blow into a light tickle. You can technically increase the odds of hitting someone by firing when the target is slightly behind you, since the hurt box starts a little behind Drek'ar. The cone does the most amount of damage, but you can still use the projectiles from a significant distance away to influence the direction of the core or temporarily stun an enemy. Usually I recommend not doing it, as having both shots ready in a skirmish is more useful, but there are times when a small stun could mean the difference between a win or a loss. It's fairly easy to see coming, as it's Drek'ar's only close range ability. That's why it's good to attack when the enemy's mobility is on cooldown, the enemy is slowed or stunned, or when the enemy can't see you moving into range. That leads into the next ability. Xeno Cloak is Drek'ar's secondary, which makes Drek'ar invisible and quite a bit faster for a time. This move is exceptional at getting into your primary fire's range, moving into a better position to strike the core, or getting out of a tight spot. You can also use it to steal power orbs, which will heal you, give you energy, and help level you up. This ability applies haste and invisibility, so you still are able to collide with creations and attacks. Keep an eye out for damage if you're running away, and possibly catch a ride on large knockback ability if you can afford the risk. Drek'ar's ultimate ability, Molten Bolt, launches a projectile that slows and burns the target for a good amount of time. This is Drek'ar's best ability, as it creates KO potential and utility for your entire team. The attack has a unique feature where the burn can transfer from enemy to enemy and can even infect the core. There are a couple ways to use this attack. The most straightforward is targeting a weak or caught out opponent to begin a skirmish. It's not the best use, as the infection feature is a huge boon, but if you need to make a pick, there's not a better way to engage. I highly recommend hitting the core with this ability, as you're forcing the enemy team to take the infection or avoid it. Both benefit you, but it also does a considerable amount of core knockback. This can take the opposing goalie off guard, as they may be expecting a slower core than what's actually coming at them. Don't use this ability on the core if it's between you and your goal zone. Focus instead on hitting the opponent closest to it. It's better to risk the enemy hitting the core and infecting it than the alternative. Molten Bolt should be what you build your items around, as most items that benefit this ability will also benefit your other abilities. Anything that enhances your debuffs will enhance your buffs. Anything that increases your ult distance also increases the distance on your primary, and the damage over time from Stinger affects the other sources of damage. Extra Special is great for starting rounds with your ult, infecting the core and anyone that touches it. Drek'ar is great for assassinations, as his kit allows him to get in quick, deal multiple knockback attacks, and escape should a fight go sour. However, until you get the right equipment, you will have to depend on your team to deal damage. With 2 charges of your primary and the small damage on your ult at low levels, you won't be able to stagger and KO on your own. Try communicating with your team to help bridge the gap and deal the damage that you need to finish them all. Assassin Drek'ar should be played as close to the enemy goal as possible, unless you have a larger bruiser comfortable with playing in the goalie's face. If that's the case, your main goal should be protecting your goalie from unnecessary damage and assisting your forward with making KOs. One of the best things about Drek'ar is that his abilities allow him to play most ways, just as long as you build accordingly. For a KO heavy Drek'ar, I recommend starting with Pummelers or Vambrace if you're expecting heavy damage. For Awakenings, Prime Time, Stinger, and Missile Propulsion. These enhance your primary and ultimate abilities and give you more uses for your primary. I recommend Rapid Fire and Built Different if those are taken. Even if you can't get KOs, Drek'ar's abilities allow him to mix up where he's hitting the core from and how. With 2 charges of Lock and Load, you can easily stun and hit the core at the same time. Xeno Cloak can help you get into position, and can even convince the goalie that you aren't going to hit the core right back into their face. Molten Bolt can be used for more than just hitting the enemy. Sometimes the enemy's greatest weakness is getting scored on. Support Drek'ar starts with Magnetic Souls or Vambrace for previous reasons, with Hot Shot, Extra Special, and Chrono Boost as your awakenings. These abilities focus on enhancing your buffs, debuffs, and giving you a better cooldown ratio. Aerials and Twin Drive can serve in a pinch. For most of this video, I've been speaking with forward Q Drek'ar in mind. As a goalie, his kit works well, but it is extremely situational. Drek is good with controlling the core, but only when it's on his terms. Being goalie is putting yourself in a reactive role, where your positioning and abilities are being influenced by the enemy team. In this role, you may have to force yourself into playing passively, which I feel goes against Drek'ar's normal style of play. If it's how you can play the character though, go for it. Lock and Load is still your best bet when it comes to controlling the core, but the delay on this ability could leave you vulnerable. If you find yourself getting stuffed, be sure to communicate with your forwards that you need help. You can deal a lot of damage to the forwards, but you'll still need assistance taking them down. I find that Drek'ar goalie works much better after you've KO'd someone on the enemy team. Most people use Strike Shot as their goalie gear, but I find that the speed from momentum boots can help you when you need to guard separate goal barriers. Try to focus on building your cooldowns, with Twin Drive, Prime Time, and Hot Shot as your primary awakenings, and Rapid Fire and Missile Propulsion as fair backups. Now let's look at some of Drek'ar's abilities in action. This first clip takes place on Atlas's lab. First, I begin by using Xeno Cloak to get in towards the core, and then I follow up with a Lock and Load shot that unlocks the goal barrier. I played ping pong with Kai and Luna for just a little bit too long. I missed the ultimate on the Luna or Kai, instead hitting the Rasmus, but I follow it up with a Lock and Load that removes him from the match. I harass the Luna just a little bit with Lock and Load, and after Rasmus hits the ult on the Kai, I strike it into the goal for a point. This next game also takes place in Atlas's lab, but as a different team. I get a ultimate on the Juno, which doesn't really do too much, but I nail a Lock and Load on the Estelle, taking her out. I knock it down to unlock both of the goal barriers, get invisible with Xenocloak so I can move into position to hit both Asher and Juno with a Lock and Load attack. My Estelle knocks it down towards me. I stuff in the core with a Lock and Load shot, winning us the game. I believe Drek'ar is very good against very precise skill shot characters, as he can easily dodge a lot of their abilities. I recommend going up against Kai, Estelle, and Amy with Drek'ar if possible. On the other hand, Drek'ar is really bad against characters like Era, Dubu, and Rune, which all have ways of creating space between you and themselves, can hit you with very large skill shots, and have some way to remove you from the match temporarily. I believe that Drek'ar works best in a team with Atlases, Lunas, and X's, because each of these characters are able to fill the little gaps that Drek'ar has in his kit. Atlas is able to heal you when you make mistakes, and lower the amount of risk that you have going into an engagement. Luna is able to damage the enemy from any part of the map, and X is really good at putting pressure on enemies that are focusing you. Well, that's pretty much all I've got to say about Drek'ar. He's a super interesting, super fun, super aggressive character that can help you win games fast, or at least have some fun clips to share with your friends. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. I'm planning on making one video for every Omega Strikers character in the game. Be sure to comment if you feel that I left anything out, or if I need corrections on any of my information. Also, be sure to join the Omega Strikers Discord. There's a lot of fun people in there, a lot of great information, and even a channel if you're looking for a team to queue up with. Thank you for watching. We should kill him and put him on wires.
Should go on strike. Oh, go on Omega Strike.
Omega Strike. Oh my god, that's why they call it that. No, it's not.
Wait a minute.
It's because Josh...
No.
That's going in the video.
No.